Earth was no longer the vibrant blue-green jewel it had once been. The skies were a dull gray, choked with ash and alien machinery. Cities lay in ruins, their skeletal remains standing as grim monuments to humanity's downfall. The Kreevol Empire had descended from the stars like an unstoppable tide, their sleek, angular ships blacking out the heavens and raining fire upon a world unprepared for such devastation. They had swept through Earth's defenses effortlessly, annihilating armies and fleets with technology far beyond anything humanity could muster. For the survivors, life had become a fragile thread, constantly threatened by the alien overlords who now scoured the planet for resources and hunted humans like animals. To the Kreevol, humanity was little more than a pest to be eradicated or enslaved. They thought the war was over. They thought they had won. In the shadows of this shattered world, however, there were still those who refused to surrender. Among them was Sergeant David Carter, a soldier whose resolve had been forged in the fires of Earth's final battles. The weight of loss hung heavy on him. His wife and daughter had been among the millions incinerated in the first wave of the invasion. That pain had hardened into something cold and unyielding: determination. David's M1 Abrams tank, once a relic of Earth's older wars, had become a symbol of defiance. While Earth's cutting-edge weapons had been obliterated or rendered useless by the Kreevol's superior technology, the Abrams had endured. It was tough, reliable, and, most importantly, still functional. The tank was not just a machine to David and his crew, it was their lifeline, their weapon, and their shield. The crew of the Abrams was small but formidable. Elena, the gunner, had a knack for precision and an unshakable calm under pressure. Ryan, the mechanic, could keep the tank running with little more than duct tape and scavenged parts. Marcus, the strategist, was the brain behind their operations, always one step ahead of their enemies. Together, they had survived countless encounters with the aliens, their bond growing stronger with each skirmish. When the Resistance's latest intelligence report came in, David knew it was their chance to make a real difference. The Kreevol Command Hub, the nerve center coordinating the invasion, was heavily fortified but not invincible. Destroying it would throw the alien forces into chaos, buying humanity precious time to regroup. The mission was suicidal, but David didn't flinch. He looked at his crew, seeing the same resolve in their eyes that burned within him. "This isn't just about us," he said, his voice steady despite the enormity of the task ahead. "It's about showing them that humanity isn't broken. Not yet. Not ever." The Kreevol had underestimated humanity's spirit. They thought they had crushed Earth's will to fight. But David knew better. With one tank, one crew, and one shot at victory, he would show them that humanity was far from finished. The M1 Abrams roared to life, its engine a guttural growl that echoed across the desolate wasteland. The crew moved with practiced precision, preparing for the mission as if it were just another routine patrol, though they all knew it was anything but. David adjusted his headset, his eyes scanning the horizon through the tank's reinforced optics. He felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him, but he pushed it aside. There was no room for doubt. Elena inspected the retrofitted cannon, its barrel now glimmering faintly with alien alloy enhancements. "If this works, it'll punch through anything they've got," she muttered, her tone clipped but confident. Ryan crouched next to the tank, double-checking the crude but effective energy shields he'd managed to integrate into the Abrams armor. "It'll hold," he said firmly, though the faint tremor in his voice betrayed his nerves. "Routes mapped," Marcus announced from inside the tank, his fingers gliding over a makeshift console patched together from scavenged alien tech. "We've got about an 80% chance of running into patrols before we reach the hub. If they call for reinforcements, we're done." David nodded. "Then we make sure they don't get the chance." The tank began its journey, grinding over cracked asphalt and the remnants of a world that once thrived. The crew remained silent, each lost in their thoughts as the Abrams rolled through the ruins. The air was thick with tension, broken only by the occasional mechanical whir of alien drones sweeping the skies above. The first contact came sooner than expected. A trio of Kreevol scouts emerged from the shadows, their sleek, insectoid frames glinting under the overcast sky. Their weapons lit up, beams of searing energy streaking toward the tank. Elena responded instantly, the Abrams turret swiveling with lethal precision. The retrofitted cannon fired, the projectile streaking through the air and obliterating one of the scouts in a fiery explosion. "Two left," Marcus called out, his eyes locked on the scanner. The remaining scouts maneuvered to flank the tank, their movements unnervingly fast. Ryan adjusted the shield output, deflecting a barrage of energy bolts that would have melted through standard armor. David barked orders, his voice cutting through the chaos as Elena fired again, the second scout disintegrating in a hail of shrapnel. The third hesitated for a moment too long, giving Marcus the opportunity to direct a burst from the Abrams coaxial machine gun, shredding it into smoking fragments. The silence that followed was deafening. "Everyone good?" David asked, his grip tightening on the controls. A series of affirmatives came through the headset, their voices steady despite the adrenaline coursing through them. They pushed onward, the landscape growing more treacherous as they neared their destination. Along the way, they encountered a convoy of alien vehicles transporting supplies. The sight was too tempting to pass up. "Hit them hard and fast," David ordered. Elena unleashed a barrage that tore through the convoy, setting off secondary explosions as alien weapon caches ignited. The crew worked in perfect synchronization, each action flowing into the next. By the time the last vehicle was reduced to smoldering wreckage, the Abrams had taken only minimal damage. But the victory was short-lived. Marcus' voice crackled over the comms, tension evident. "We've got movement. They know we're here." David clenched his jaw. "Then let's make sure they remember us." The command hub loomed ahead, a sprawling fortress of alien architecture pulsing with an eerie, bluish glow. Towering spires bristling with weaponry pierced the sky, and shield generators shimmered with energy fields that made conventional approaches impossible. The area surrounding the hub was teeming with Kreevol forces, patrols, tanks, and automated drones, each ready to annihilate anything that dared to draw close. Inside the Abrams, the crew prepared for what they all knew would be their greatest test. David tightened his grip on the controls, his eyes scanning the battlefield through the tank's enhanced optics. "No second chances," he said, his voice steady. "We go in, hit them hard, and don't stop until it's done." "Target locked on the first tower," Elena reported, already adjusting the turret. "Once we drop that, we can focus on the shield generators." The first shot rang out, the upgraded cannon unleashing a shell that slammed into one of the spires, obliterating its energy turrets in a fiery explosion. The Kreevol reacted instantly. Drones swarmed into the air, and ground troops moved into formation, their energy weapons lighting up the battlefield. The Abrams surged forward, plowing through rubble and debris as Ryan diverted extra power to the shields. The tank's main gun roared again, tearing through the Kreevol ranks. Elena fired with precision, each shot hitting its mark as the drones began to close in. "They're adapting," Marcus warned, his fingers flying across the console as he tracked enemy movements. "More reinforcements inbound." "We don't have time to worry about them," David said sharply. "Focus on the generators." The Abrams pushed deeper into enemy territory, its reinforced armor shrugging off smaller energy blasts while Ryan worked frantically to patch minor system failures. The tank's machine guns rattled incessantly, shredding alien foot soldiers who tried to close the gap. Elena fired again, her shot smashing into one of the shield generators. The explosion sent a ripple through the shimmering barrier, but it held firm. "It's not enough," she shouted. "Concentrate fire," David ordered. "We hit it again, together." Coordinating perfectly, the crew unleashed another devastating volley. The second generator collapsed, and a portion of the shield flickered and dropped. For the first time, a small gap opened in the fortress's defenses. "Shield breach at 20%, Marcus confirmed. "We need to move now." But the Kreevol weren't done. A towering alien tank rolled into view, its design sleek and menacing, bristling with advanced weaponry. It fired a glowing, spiraling projectile that slammed into the Abrams, rocking the crew and leaving a scorch mark across its side. "Shields are failing," Ryan yelled, his voice strained. David gritted his teeth and maneuvered the Abrams to avoid the next blast. "Elena, take it out." She didn't hesitate. Adjusting her aim, she fired a single, perfectly timed shot. The shell struck the alien tank's core, detonating it in a blinding explosion that shook the ground. "Good hit," Marcus called out, but his tone remained urgent. "We've got minutes before more reinforcements arrive." The Abrams surged forward, its cannon unleashing one final devastating blast at the last shield generator. The explosion sent shockwaves through the air, and the entire barrier collapsed, exposing the command hub. David didn't wait. "Target the core." "Everything we've got." Elena fired again, the tank's main gun releasing its most powerful shot yet. The projectile smashed into the heart of the fortress, triggering a chain reaction. The hub erupted in a massive explosion, its alien spires crumbling as fire and debris rained down. For a moment, there was silence. Then Marcus spoke, his voice carrying a mix of awe and disbelief. "We did it. The hub is down." David let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. "Not yet," he said. "We still need to get out of here." The battlefield was in chaos, Kreevol forces scrambling without their command structure. But the Abrams, battered and scorched, kept moving, its crew focused on survival and the faint hope that this victory would ignite something greater. The battlefield was eerily quiet in the wake of the explosion, a stark contrast to the chaos that had engulfed it moments before. The alien command hub was nothing more than a smoldering ruin, its once imposing structure reduced to rubble. The Kreevol forces, now leaderless and disorganized, were in full retreat. But inside the Abrams, there was no time for celebration. Ryan frantically worked on stabilizing the shields, sweat dripping down his face. "I've patched what I can, but we're running on fumes. One more direct hit, and we're done." Marcus scanned the area, his voice tense. "Drones incoming. Looks like they're regrouping for a counterattack." David's knuckles whitened as he gripped the controls. "We're not dying here. Not after this." He glanced at Elena. "Can we still fight?" She gave a curt nod, her hand steady on the turret's controls. "We've got a few shots left. Enough to make them regret coming after us." As the drones descended, the Abrams sprang back into action. Its cannon roared, taking down multiple targets with each shot. Machine guns rattled, cutting through the enemy ranks. Despite the damage it had sustained, the tank moved with determination, a relic of human engineering holding its ground against superior alien forces. The resistance fighters, scattered across the area, began to emerge from their hiding places. They had watched in stunned silence as the Abrams took on the command hub, and now, inspired by its defiance, they rallied. Makeshift weapons in hand, they joined the fight, ambushing Kreevol patrols and providing cover for the tank. "Looks like we're not alone anymore," Marcus said, a hint of hope in his voice. David nodded. "Good. Let's make this count." The combined assault of the Abrams and the resistance fighters pushed the remaining Kreevol forces back. Alien vehicles exploded, their once impenetrable armor no match for the sheer determination of humanity. The tide was turning. Amid the chaos, David opened a channel on the Resistance's frequency. "This is Sergeant David Carter of the M1 Abrams. The hub is down, but the fight isn't over. We've shown them we can win. Now it's time to take our planet back." His words spread like wildfire, transmitted across resistance networks worldwide. Isolated groups of survivors, inspired by the destruction of the hub, began launching their own attacks. Reports came in of alien outposts falling, of Kreevol forces retreating. Humanity, battered and broken, was rising again. Inside the tank, the crew allowed themselves a brief moment of relief. Ryan leaned back, exhaustion written across his face. "We're still here," he muttered, almost in disbelief. Elena smirked, her hands still on the controls. "They thought we were done. Guess they didn't know us very well." David looked out at the horizon, where columns of smoke marked the locations of distant battles. The Abrams was battered, its armor scorched and its systems strained, but it was still operational. And as long as it could move, as long as it could fight, humanity had a chance. "Let's finish this," he said, his voice steady. The tank rolled forward, leading a convoy of resistance fighters toward another alien stronghold. Behind them, the ruins of the command hub smoldered, a testament to human resilience and the refusal to surrender. The aliens had thought they had won. They had underestimated humanity's will to fight, to survive, to endure. In the end, the Kreevol would learn a lesson carved in fire and steel. Humanity might bend, but it would never break.